Hello and welcome to Wisconsin in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I am Dan McCaleb, Executive Editor of the Center Square Newswire service. Joining me today, as he does each and every week, is Ben Yount, the Center Square's Wisconsin correspondent. How are things today, Ben?
Well, I'm doing better than Justin Fields, but then again, that bar's pretty low.
Oh, you had to bring up Justin Fields. Ben, of course, is in Wisconsin, in the Milwaukee area. And I'm in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, about 15 miles south of the Wisconsin border. But man, it's been a miserable week for Bears fans after the drubbing they took from the Green Bay Packers and their new quarterback, Jordan Love.
I had to hear it every day. I even had to hear it from my wife. She has become a Packer fan. She was never a football fan till we got married. And then all of a sudden we move up here and she decides that she likes the Packers. It was that one thing where she goes, are they supposed to score this little? Was that play designed for him to just run around and get tackled? I mean, I'm sure she knew what she was doing, but yeah, I mean, gonna be a long season.
Well, good for the Packers. If I remember correctly, Ben, you were predicting a not so great season for the Packers.
Yeah, I had to hear about that too.
Well, I'll let you off the hook and we'll move on. We are recording this on Thursday, September 14th. Ben, some news this week that you covered out of the Wisconsin Capitol regarding school choice and Democrats presenting a package of legislation that they say would reinvest in public schools and bring more transparency to vouchers, school vouchers that can go to private schools. Republicans are saying, wait, what's going on here? Tell us about it.
Well, Wisconsin began the school choice movement probably 20, 30 years ago now. And school choice is very, very popular here in Wisconsin among the people who take advantage of it. School choice is also very popular with conservatives and voters in the suburbs because schools are seen as the gateway to, moving forward, education and the like. And the test scores year after year show that Milwaukee public schools in particular, but many other public schools across the state are simply failing. 60% of kids statewide cannot read or write at grade level. The numbers for science and social studies and other classes are similarly bad. Now, that's the statewide average. So you come to school districts like the district that my children go to, considered one of the best in the state, and those scores are higher. But it also means that if you go to the urban school districts, Milwaukee, Racine, Kenosha, parts of Green Bay, parts of Madison, you come across schools where you have single-digit percentage proficiency. 7, 8, 9% of kids in certain Milwaukee schools can read at grade level. That means that 93, 95, 97% of kids can't. And so you have this broad support for the idea of school choice, except among Democrats in the legislature who have tried, as they have almost every year, to kill it. This proposal would not so much kill school choice, but would try and heap regulations upon them. And the idea of transparency comes with not so much hey, let's look and see apples to apples and show you what choice schools are spending and what choice students are doing with that money. The idea is to essentially shame choice schools. Deb Andraka from Whitefish Bay, which is a nice community just north of Milwaukee, wants to have something like this on property taxes. She says, the gross reduction in state aid to your school district in the current year is a result of people enrolled in one of the choice programs or as a result of payments to private schools under the Special Needs Scholarship Program. She essentially wants to send people a letter with their tax bill saying, here's how much money we sent to school choice. Boo. Hiss.
And she went on to say that it's not an anti-school choice measure. It's about transparency. But the language in there is pretty heavy and sounds anti-choice to me.
And we wrote the story. I don't know if it was earlier this week or maybe it was late last week. But the folks at School Choice Wisconsin did as close as they could get to apples. They looked at per pupil spending in Milwaukee and Kenosha, where there are specific choice programs, as well as statewide. And they looked at the test performance between choice schools and public schools. And what they found is there's a huge gap between the test scores in choice schools in Milwaukee and Kenosha and the traditional public schools in Milwaukee and Kenosha. And that issue of transparency, that look at who is spending what, showed that choice schools were getting far better results for less money. But yeah, Andraka doesn't want that kind of transparency. She just wants to hang this over school choice. The line that Democrats will use, and there's not going to be a vote on this because Republicans will bottle it up, but the line from Democrats is these are public dollars, public schools, and there needs to be public oversight.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Ben, that this really is going to be much ado about nothing because Republicans have a supermajority in the Senate and a near supermajority in the Assembly, and there's just no way this is going to get passed through.
Yeah,
sent on to Governor Evers.
I have made this point time and time and time again that the Republican victory in this new state budget that was approved back in the summer is not the tax cut that got vetoed out. There's no sort of limit on spending. This budget spends about 10% more, now $45 billion a year. By the way, Wisconsin spends almost as much as Illinois, and Illinois has twice as many people. The big victory for Republicans in this budget was an expansion of school choice funding, that you can pay some choice schools now up to $13,000 per high school student. And that was what Republicans hung their hat on. So to say that this is not going anywhere is an understatement. If they could bury this under the Capitol building, they would. But this highlights the debate that continues on. And that line, public dollars, public schools, public oversight. School choice supporters are quick to point out that it's money for a kid's education. That money, the per pupil funding money, should belong to the kid, school choice supporters say, not the public school. And Andraka and Chris Larson and so many other of the Democrats who are against school choice continue to talk about this as if that money is somehow the birthright of the local public school district, as opposed to money that should go to educate the kid.
Ben, I enjoy our conversations each and every week. Thank you for your insights, but we are out of time. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Ben Yount, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.